Whack-a-magob, everybody. It is time for another Waylon bracket. And this one's a little different. It ain't songs. It's bass players. All right, so I'm going to choose what bass player. Let's see which one is the greatest bass player on this bracket. I haven't looked at the bracket yet, but I wonder if he added my favorite bass player of all time on here. Because if he did, that bass player is going to win. All right, let's start with Les Claypool from Primus versus Jason Newsted. Now, here's the deal. I know Les Claypool is extremely talented. I know most of you would pick him over Jason Newsted, but I am going with Jason Newsted because of his bass work on Doomsday for the Deceiver. Just that alone, I like him more. See, when it comes to this bracket here, it's not who's technically better. It's who I think who grabs my sphincter, you know. And Jason Newsted grabs my sphincter really well. And you know, oddly enough, when Jason was part of Metallica, he licked their sphincter all the way through until he had enough and quit. All right, next, Roger Waters versus John Deacon of Queen. I'm gonna give it to John Deacon. I'm thinking of Dragon Attack. Yeah, I'm giving it to John Deacon. Now, John Deacon above Jason Newsted? Yeah. John Deacon's taking over. All right, next. Ian Hill, Judas Priest versus Tom Hamilton, Aerosmith. Easily Tom Hamilton. That guy's underrated and awesome. And I like him more than John Deacon, so now Tom Hamilton is taking over. Next, Dee Dee Ramone versus Tom Araya Slayer. I gotta go with Dee Dee Ramone, man. Dee Dee Ramone fucking smokes. And yeah, I like him more than Tom Hamilton. Now, man, everybody's taking over. It's like nobody's staying, you know? All right, next. Michael Anthony Van Halen versus Bob Daisley. Love them both, but Bob Daisley, man. His work on those two Ozzy albums is just phenomenal. Listen to what he does during Tonight and just about every song on those Diary and Blizzard. Amazing. Now, would I put him above Dee Dee Ramone? Yeah, I will. Man, nobody's staying. Everybody's keeps getting dropped off with each bass player. All right, next, Dave Ellison versus Rex Brown. I'm going to go with Dave Ellison because of his work on the first two Megadeth albums. It's just insane how good he was on those. Now, would I put him above Bob Daisley? No. There you go. Bob Daisley is the first bass player to hold on. Wasn't eliminated that quick. All right, next, Billy Sheehan versus Iron Maiden, Steve Harris. Ugh. You know, Billy Sheehan, of course, is probably technically the greatest bass player out of everybody on here. But, man, the work Steve Harris did on those first two Maiden albums, I got to give it to Steve Harris. And, yeah, I'll put Steve Harris above Bob Daisley. So, Steve Harris is now here. Next, Lemmy from Motorhead versus Cliff Burton, Metallica. I got to give it to Cliff Burton. As much as I love Lemmy, Cliff, what he does on Orion alone, I put him above Steve Harris as well. So the winner on the left side bracket is Cliff Burton, the great Cliff Burton. All right, now we go to the right side, all right? Jeff Pilson of Dokken versus Duff McKagan, Guns N' Roses. I'm giving it to Duff. It's so easy. I mean, look, I've said this a million times. I'm going to say it again. The reason Appetite for Destruction is so kick-ass, it's because of Duff and Steven Adler. I think the rhythm section of Guns N' Roses on that first album is what made that album great. Yes, Axl's great, Slash and Izzy had a lot to do with the songwriting, but I'm talking about the sound of that album. The sound of the album, it's all Duff and Steven, in my opinion. I'm giving this one a Duff. All right, next. Gene Simmons versus Frank Bello of Anthrax. I'm going with Gene. And I know Frank Bello is technically better, but man, the bass line on Ladies Room and Going Blind. And, you know, I know Gene Simmons dumbs down his bass player, but when he would do some killer bass work, he was awesome. I'm giving it to Gene. Gene above Duff? Yeah. All right, next. Oh, my God. Paul McCartney versus Dusty Hill. Easily Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney is a unique bass player. And yeah, very underrated. He picked always the right notes on those early Beatles songs. He was so precise and so melodic. Amazing. Paul McCartney over Gene Simmons as well. Will Paul McCartney lose? I don't know. Let's keep going. Oh, my God. Oh, man. John Gallagher of Raven versus Joey DeMaio of Manowar. Look, let me tell you something, man. I love both of these with a passion, but John Gallagher wins. That guy, you know, he's on my Facebook, and now and then he'll do some videos of him just playing bass. He's ridiculously good. I can't put him over McCartney, even though he's technically better than McCartney. I can't. Paul McCartney's holding on. All right, Robert Trujillo versus Rudy Sarzo. Ah, fuck. I love Rudy. Man, Rudy's work on the driver, especially driver demos, and speaking of the devil, I'm going Rudy Sarzo as much as I love Trujillo. Rudy Sarzo takes this, but I'm still going with Paul McCartney. All right, Phil Lynott versus Cliff Williams. I love them both, but I got to go with Phil Lynott, man. Phil Lynott was just the shit. So he wins, but Paul McCartney's holding on. All right, next, John Paul Jones versus Geddy Lee. I love them both, but easily Geddy Lee, man. Geddy Lee is ridiculously good. So I'm giving it to Geddy Lee. All right, now, but McCartney. McCartney's holding on. Now the last two is Geezer Butler versus John Entwistle. My all-time favorite bass player, John Entwistle. I will put him above Paul McCartney, and he wins the right side. Now, John Entwistle versus Cliff Burton, like I said, man, he's my favorite bass player, John Entwistle. The winner of the bass playing bracket is John Entwistle from The Who. So there you go, Waylon. I hope you enjoyed your bass track by track. Not track by track. The brackets, man. You got a few more brackets coming up. So stay tuned, everybody, because, you know, he really likes to break my brain, because Paul McCartney should have won. But, boy, you had to throw in John Entwistle at the end. If you didn't, McCartney would have won. But there you go, man. Thank you again, Waylon, and thank you, everybody that's watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and ring that little notification bell, and let me know your favorite bass players in the comments below. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty, listen to Black Sabbath, and smack 'em a gob. Entwistle is God.